Hello, welcome back to the A3A Podcast. I'm Nick.
I'm Walter.
I'm Justin. I don't know why I said it like that.
You sound like Patrick. You sound like Patrick.
No, this is Patrick.
Well, we have another wonderful week of sports here to talk about with you all. We're going to be focusing on football this week. Not much NHL news, except in the background of Justin's screen there, we got the NHL season starting. So next week, we're going to be talking a lot about that.
Panthers already scored. Bruins are down 1-0. This is what I expected. Great. Hey, we're doing great, guys.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if you guys have this same like superstition, but like anytime I wear a piece of like team apparel during one of my team's games, I feel like they always lose. So I was just doing this for the pod, but like I might have to take this off at some point if they go down 2-0. I'm not superstitious. I am.
You're such a quitter.
That's so true.
Such a quitter.
Anyway,
literally first game of the season out of 84 games, and you're already packing it in.
Well, at least we got our goalie back, but we'll talk about that later. Let's get to the NFL.
All right. Week five. We started with Thursday night game was Buccaneers and Falcons. That's right. All I know is Kirk Cousins threw for over 500 yards. I didn't even know that was humanly possible.
Big Kirk in prime time too.
I know, prime time Kirk throwing up some numbers. Did you watch the game, Justin?
I did, and like I was really impressed with both. Obviously, him because he threw for over 500 yards, which I don't know if you knew this. Matt Ryan got inducted into the Ring of Honor, and it was his record that Kirk Cousins yardage-wise. It's like happy induction.
No.
Yeah, and Panthers are up 2-0 now, so this jersey is going to come off at some point. I don't even know for like 15 minutes. Okay, we're 8 minutes into the season. Great, cool. Anyway, yeah, I was obviously really impressed with Kirk, but I was really impressed with Baker too. Like he is still playing at a really high level. Like I now that the Browns are really not playing that great, I think they're
browning.
They're browning, right? And it's just I feel like they made a mistake letting him go so soon. Like they were right in this game. Crazy ending, but it was a good game overall.
I mean, the Browns were good last year, so I guess you could have kept Baker. Yeah, I guess you could have kept Baker and changed something there, but I think Baker needed to change the scenery too, though.
Yeah, that's fair. That's part of it too. But yeah, the ending of this game was pretty crazy, and especially like obviously we touched on it before. The craziest part is Kirk, 500 yards, which is not very common these days. No. At least like even like 400 yards like this year.
Yeah, no,
guys aren't getting that high. 4 touchdowns. Yeah. That's quite good. And Drake London put up a ton of yards and catches. Good for my fantasy team. Yeah, so the Falcons are rolling. I still feel like they're the team to beat in the South. But the Bucs are right there with them. They really are.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between them and the Bucs, which is weird because I thought the Falcons were a little bit farther off than what they are, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that we just kind of know what to expect from Kirk Cousins for the most part. Like he's going to win some games. Probably going to be middle of the pack. You're not going to be like one seed or anything like that. And they were hoping was that he would unlock some of the talent that they have, like in Drake London that I just mentioned. Kyle Pitts had more of a respectable game, 7 catches for 88 yards, and Bijan Robinson.
He's been doing nothing.
Yeah. And that's what they're hoping. Like, oh, maybe like an actual quarterback can get him the ball. But yeah, I still think that they're, on the up and up. That it's in Thursday night games, you can just throw it out the window sometimes because there's such short rest and they're just weird sometimes. But
I missed the game. I don't know what happened, but I guess I just forgot it was Thursday. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, well, that happened. So yeah, I missed it. That's all right.
Yeah. Another thing about that too is Young Hoku. I think he hit like a 50-something yarder. I want to say to tie the game at the end of regulation. and guys are just hitting 50+ yarders with ease these days. We might have touched on it in past weeks, but I feel like the Packers are just on a different level this year for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't get drug tested. Like they got some big old legs kicking there. And it's funny with Koo too. Like he was just terrible with the Chargers, and then now he's kind of flourishing with the Falcons.
And I think his name is actually Young Wei Q.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that I mispronounced it.
Well, it's funny. I forget where I was watching, but someone said Young Ho, and then they were just like, "That's not his name."
Well, it's spelled like that. It's
That's how I was pronouncing it.
Yeah,
Way better, to be honest.
yeah.
Anyways, moving on. We can talk about the Jets. They lose another game, and they fire head coach Robert Saleh. I'm not surprised. I think we touched on it a little bit last week. I think they were probably going to have to move on eventually because you're either going to pick your quarterback, really expensive, proven quarterback, or your head coach who hasn't really proven much yet. And I heard they even had security escort him out of the building.
Yeah, did not get to address the team. And this is all just rumors, so that who knows if this is actually true. What Saleh had announced was that he was going to demote Nathaniel Hackett from play calling duties and elevate someone else.
Ooh, Rodgers won't like that.
Right? So the rumor is that Saleh announced that, and Rodgers got on the horn, called Woody Johnson, and said, "Nah, get rid of Saleh."
But Aaron Rodgers swears he had nothing to do with it.
Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. Him throwing a fit about no.
Not a chance.
No. I mean, I don't know if it's Nathaniel Hackett's fault that he threw 3 interceptions.
He hasn't looked the greatest this season either. So to just say it's strictly on one person is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes someone just has to be the scapegoat, which is terrible. But with Rodgers, I saw a video, and this might have just been like how the camera was angled, like the framing or whatever. But it looks like I forgot that it was his left Achilles that tore, not his like planting one, his right one. And just looking at it, it looks like that left one is like pretty atrophied, meaning like it lost a lot of like muscle size, which considering he tore it, that's not
he didn't have a lot of time to regain that muscle either. So.
Right. And it like I've been meaning to go back and watch how he threw in like last year and the years prior, but it just looks like when he throws it looks like he hops. Like he doesn't like plant and really like sling it. He just like jumps even when he's like clean in the pocket. And I feel like that's a product of.
I was going to say, I wonder if he altered it to compensate for the Achilles or that lack of muscle in that calf or something like that.
Yeah, but it's. I don't know if you want to change your mechanics at 40 years old too.
I will say, if anyone can. Like if any player is going to change their mechanics, it's probably going to be an older guy just because of the experience.
Yeah, and there are a few quarterbacks better than him at throwing off platform too.
Yeah, I mean, like he's talented. He's like super talented too.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely right. But I think that I don't know if like Hackett's to blame, Saleh's to blame, but this team is like super underperforming. Like
I mean, even if Hackett was to blame, Rodgers was a big part in that whole thing happening because they used to be together in Green Bay or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't really know what they fire Saleh. What happens if it doesn't get better?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just trying to do whatever they like. I don't know if there's much else you can do. It's not like you're going to bench Rodgers.
No,
I mean they are.
I just mean like after this year, like. What's the direction they're going to take? Because the plan was supposed to be Rodgers, Hackett, Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think like this is just an effort to try to turn this season around because like Rodgers is just year by year at this point. Like who knows if he still wants to play football. They're trying to capitalize on this team right now before like other guys get expensive. So I think they're just trying to do whatever they can to turn this thing around because they're just not playing up to their standard. And I think that at least the AFC East, it's up for grabs. Like the Bills aren't playing the way that they did earlier in the season, like the first few weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, and like it's probably still like the Chiefs at the top because they're still undefeated, and the Ravens are there too.
Yeah,
But
we're also gonna talk about that.
yeah, things can happen. So I feel like they're just trying to make something out of this season, get to the playoffs, and just roll the dice. You know what I mean?
It's early. It's early anyway.
It is.
So.
It is. Yeah.
We'll
Vikings
move
too
on.
In that game. We got to give some room
Oh,
to
yeah,
the Vikings too, right? Nick's Super Bowl pick is still rolling along.
I mean, at this point, though, how much they are what they are. I think they're an actual good football team.
Yeah, seems like it. Sam Darnold came down to earth a little bit. It was 14-31 for 170.
I mean, the Jets' defense isn't the worst either, though.
You're right, and London games, so it's those are always kind of wonky. But they're still chugging along. Got to give it to them.
Yeah, I haven't checked their. Well, Nick mentioned their schedule a while back. At this point, it could be a while before they take their first loss.
Yeah,
they got the Lions coming up, right? I think that's their next game. So maybe that's a loss. If they beat the Lions, who knows what happens? They might just keep winning and winning. To be honest,
I gotta assume they're gonna drop one of their games to the Lions. Is this Lions game home or away?
This next one is not this week. It's next week, and it's Detroit at Minnesota.
Okay, so good chance for them with home field advantage pulling out a win there too.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is like a, are they a legit good team? Like, is it like kind of when they had Case Keenum and they kind of went on a run, or is it kind of like I feel like it was the Steelers, like I don't know, maybe 2020, where they like went undefeated, like they were 11-0. But
yeah, and then they just ended up
was so terrible, and then like they just like completely fell apart. I don't know if it's like it could be either of those. Like Sam Darnold kind of reverts back to the mean, and he is who he is. Time will tell, but they're still rolling along pretty good.
I think they have enough pieces around him though, where I'm not expecting that to happen, to be honest.
Yeah,
I agree.
And he's not old like Roethlisberger was either. So
true. Yeah.
There's just one little problem for the Vikings, and that is the last time a 5-0 team missed the playoffs was in 2016, and it was the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings are going to Viking, just like the Browns are going to Browns. The Vikings are going to Viking.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't think that's where you were going with that. I thought 2016, I immediately thought of the Giants because that was the boat year.
Oh, yeah.
So I was immediately like, oh, I don't want to hear this one. Anyways.
The Pats were winning Super Bowls. Woe is me.
The Bengals are 1-4, despite Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase lighting it up. I mean, they did play the Ravens. It was an overtime loss. I don't know what they're going to do. They got to fix their defense, obviously, but putting up all that offense and still losing, and now you're 1-4. I think they'll get a win next week because they have the Giants next week, but that defense is very questionable. Granted, they did play the Ravens, who are no slouches on offense.
No, they're not. They're not. And did either of you watch the end of this game?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Like the swings back and forth in terms of the momentum in overtime were crazy. Like Lamar driving down, just like I think it might have been his like second fumble, like what he had in overtime, where like he's just like not paying attention to the ball and like just like misses it. And then Cincinnati's like kind of passive on offense to get a little closer for the kicker because McPherson's very good. And I should have texted you guys before the kick. The announcer, I forgot who it was. He's like, he's 11 for 11 on game-winning field goals, and he's missed. He's made his last like whatever. And I was like, he's going to miss. And sure enough, he missed.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Ravens' next play, I think Derrick Henry, rushed. I feel like it was a 51-yard like rush.
My
to get that
problem with
possession.
with playing for the field goal is you literally have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase like lighting it up. Why not at least try for something to get, like you said, closer, or if not, a touchdown?
Yeah,
I think that's ultimately where they lost the game.
it shows a lack of trust in your guys too. Like to just not even you don't even have to like try to get a touchdown, but just try to get like closer, more manageable range. Like they
Yeah.
ran like I think 3 running plays. That
I don't think
didn't really do much.
McPherson is gonna get all up in arms because they want to get him a little bit closer. I'm pretty sure he would have enjoyed the kick being closer too.
Yeah. I forgot too if that because there was a few like missed field goals that I had seen, but I feel like that one it was on the holder. He like not fumbled the snap, but like kind of didn't get it down quite properly. So it seems like Cincinnati's issues is just like a lack of attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
Like and we're saying it again in the season, they just don't come ready to play. And at what point is this going to come back on Zach Taylor, and we're going to look at him like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we still going along with this guy? I was
very close to that point.
Yeah, I was kind of I don't want to say shocked about them making the Super Bowl several years ago, but just with like knowing how
quick of a turnaround it was.
Yeah, but also just like how he was as like a coach. It didn't really seem like he made a difference like one way or the other. Like it wasn't like he was some like offensive genius or like a great motivator. He's just kind of like, okay, like he doesn't really like move the meter at all. At least
Kmart Sean McVay or something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like that, and I think if this season keeps going the way it's going, he might be out of a job. I don't know.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Moving on. Unfortunately for Justin, the Patriots fall to the Dolphins. I think the score is like 15-10. Although I will say on a very argument-based call, Justin, you can go into detail. I don't know if Nick saw it or not.
Oh, the touchdown?
Yeah, the touchdown.
Quote, unquote, touchdown.
Well, right. The not touchdown.
Not touchdown, right. So, and this was, they were down at this point 15-10. So this would have put them up. I think it was under 2 minutes left. Jalen Polk, their second round pick, he caught a ball in the back of the end zone. All right. First foot down. Second foot, the front part of his toe clearly down in bounds. Clearly. And then his heel touches. Okay. So in my head, I'm like, that's a touchdown. Like he got both feet in. Like it's like a toe tap.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that's not the case. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like in relation to where you're positioned, like if it's towards the quarterback or like towards the sideline. So if you're towards the sideline, you can toe tap it. If it's towards the quarterback, you can't.
That's so stupid.
And I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me? And there's like, I can think of like 3 or 4 plays over the past like 5-6 years for the Patriots where for another team, like it's like a play on the sideline that's clearly 100% out of bounds or 100% inbounds for the Patriots, and then they call the other way. I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me?
I saw so many comparisons, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like my interpretation of a touchdown was once you have possession and the ball has crossed the goal line, it's a touchdown. That's second, but I guess not. I mean, you do have to like survive the ground, so to speak, if you're hitting the ground or whatnot. But the possession wasn't a question. You definitely had it. It was just the toe and then the heel. I'm actually surprised they put that one in favor of like defenses, to be honest. Usually it's all geared for the offenses. So I'm quite surprised.
Right.
Is this something you think they're going to take a look at?
I doubt it.
I doubt it just because the state of both teams. If this happened in the playoffs, like if it were the Chiefs and the Ravens and this happened,
the Chiefs, then this would be getting changed. Like they're putting in a rule change like first thing in the offseason. To be fair too, like it was a great catch by Jalen Polk, but Brissett, which has become the norm, kind of missed him, and he had to make a play to even get close to catching the ball. But I don't have to say that, at least anymore for now, that, Brissett missed him, because the Messiah hath risen. It was announced today that Drake May is going to start next week against the Texans, which I am excited for. The Boston media is not excited for it, even though for the past several weeks they have been like clamoring for him, because they're like, Brissett, you can't do anything.
Yeah, because it's all fresh and new and cool until you're in it, and now you're like, oh, we got to put our brand new quarterback behind a pretty horrible offensive line.
Yeah, which they did play a little bit better last week. They gave up some sacks and pressures and all that stuff, and Brissett got batted around. But there were times where he had time to throw, and he just either missed guys, didn't see him, whatever. So the main issue that people are having with starting Drake May now is it's against the Texans next week. Yeah. So, and apparently the Texans have a very good pass rush.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. I mean, like,
why?
Yeah. I wouldn't have started him.
I get you're losing games, but at some point you have to realize, we're not going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen.
It's partially that, but like, I think what the frustrating thing is, you have like all of these offensive weapons that you're trying to evaluate, and you can't do it because they just they can't get them the ball, right? So you want to see if Jalen Polk or like Javon Baker, I mean, they've already given up on Tyquan Thornton. You want to see if these guys are something. You know, I think that Jalen Polk is, because he's made several good catches. It seems like he is open more often than not. Brissett just can't get it to him. And you can't properly evaluate them if you're just not even able to get them the ball. So I think that comes to play too. And like, you want Brissett, or excuse me, you want May to get some exposure. I think like it's, you know, what's the point of sitting him out a full season? It's not like he is
the point. I can make two.
Not to get hurt and not to get into bad habits.
Well, no, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they both sat out. I get it. But it's also not like, and you could say Pat Mahomes too, but it's also not like they are sitting, or May is sitting behind a future Hall of Famer. Bledsoe wasn't necessarily like a future Hall of Famer, but he was an All-Pro quarterback, right, or a Pro Bowl quarterback. And then Rodgers had Brett Favre, Mahomes had Alex Smith. So it's slightly different in that sense, but I do get what you're saying. But
I don't know if throwing this kid to the Wolves as his first game being the Texans is the right idea. Right. And then if it goes bad, are you just going to keep him in there? If he's getting hit and he's throwing interceptions, what are you going to do? What are you doing?
Right. You don't want to tank his confidence. And I've been kind of watching like Caleb Williams since like, they're both rookies, but Williams like has also had a subpar offensive line. The Bruins scored. Woo! All right, Jersey's back on. Let's go. But like, he's had a subpar offensive line, but as he gets more reps, he is kind of, improving. In terms of starting him against the Texans, I probably would not have done that because they're a very good team. They pass rush, like you said. They play the Jags in London next week. I don't know if you want to do that. They play the Jets at home. We
like those two chances better.
Yeah, I feel like I probably would have gone for the Jets the week prior, or for week 8, because it's a home game and the Jets they just fired their coach, so they're not in as good of a state as the Texans. But
do the Patriots have a third quarterback? Do they have a third
Joe
quarterback
Milton?
on the roster?
I told you this. Remember that?
Yeah.
So they're not really gonna throw him out there either, but
which is crazy because you're willing to do that with your higher pick, but not your lower pick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it
doesn't make too much mathematical sense.
But think about this too, like from the team's perspective. Like they're out there, getting their butts kicked, but they're trying their hardest. And yes, this guy is the 3rd overall pick, and like you want to protect him, but it's like, well, he's going to have to play at some point. Like he's going to have to get battered around. Why am I putting myself on the line? And he just gets to sit around and watch, So I guess I kind of get it from that sense, maybe.
I mean, if you have that mindset, you might as well not play football, because if you're an offensive lineman saying that, being an offensive lineman, you should know you're not going to get that kind of treatment.
No, true. Definitely from the
It's offensive lineman is what have you done for me lately, and they haven't been blocking.
Yeah, and
so I could say back to that.
Yeah, the biggest time that you're talked about is when you do something wrong for offensive line.
Yeah,
that's the only reason
wrong, or you get
that,
a penalty or something like that.
Yeah, Eric Flowers is a more well-known name than Andrew Whitworth, and we know why.
people wouldn't be so up in arms about starting Drake May if there wasn't the fear of him being freaking destroyed back there.
Yeah,
but I got a bad feeling it's going to happen.
I do too, but I'm excited to see him see if he can at least throw for over 100 yards and a half, because I don't even know if Brissett's done that yet this year.
He hasn't done it?
I doubt it. Like
you said,
so the last game he threw for 160 yards, and the week prior, week prior against the Niners, he threw for 168. Like he can't freaking throw the ball. And then let's see the week before that, he didn't even hit 100 yards against Jets. So at this point, it's tough to get much worse than that.
And again, you don't really need to hit 100 yards against the Jets.
True.
Look at the Broncos.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh man. But I guess we'll see how that plays out. Moving on. How are we feeling about the Commanders? I could say for sure I think they're going to win the NFC East. For sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we haven't seen them really play a higher quality opponent, which we will this week against Ravens.
They played the Bengals and they beat the Bengals, who just went toe to toe with the Ravens. So
yeah,
they have that.
The Bengals aren't up to their full snuff, at least yet. Maybe, I don't know. It's the clip at which their offense is successful. I feel like it's just not they're as efficient, if not more, than the 07 Pats. That's just insane for a rookie, and for the weapons they have, which I'm not discrediting them, but they're not Randy Moss or Wes Welker.
No, not at all.
But they're still put up those numbers. And granted, offense is different now. It's the game is more catered to them. Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm super impressed still with Daniels. He didn't have as efficient of a game. He's not completing 90% of his passes or whatever he was doing.
Yeah, which is almost impossible to keep up.
It's not. That's not sustainable either. But this is just how the NFC East is. You go in with one season, okay, yeah, the Cowboys, they have the most stacked team, except the Commanders are just going to come out of left field. The Cowboys are going to cowboy, and okay, they're your NFC East champs, the Commanders.
Yeah, and then you never know what you're going to get with the Giants. One week they look good, the next week they're the worst team in the league, and then just all up and down on that. So I
with the Eagles, yep.
I think they will get into a wild card spot in the playoffs. I don't think they're quite going to make a run yet, but I think they'll get a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Nick, what do you think of Jaden Daniels?
Huge. I mean, absolutely huge. I think this is kind of what the franchise needed. I mean, they've been kind of smelly for a long while. As someone who lives in the DC area, you can definitely see the energy is back. All my friends are excited about it. People are going to games. You see it all over Instagram stories. So there's definitely mojo back in the DC fan base. I think that's exciting for a franchise that has just not succeeded recently.
They got this, but they got this totally new, fresh restart with, Schneider being out of there.
Oh man,
new coaching, new ownership. It has been a complete turnaround for that team, and it looks like they finally got it right. Sorry, Justin. I just saw that.
I seen over my shoulder. Yeah, 3-1 Panthers. Oh, God. Okay, this might come off because the jersey might come off. I got to do something to change the mojo. Anyway, yeah, you bring up the good point about Snyder there. Well, because that's just not it can't be understated how big of a difference that makes. Like the stink that he had over the organization for 20 something years was just terrible.
He was talked down on by a lot of owners too, so he was not well liked.
No, and certainly not well liked by the fans too. Like just considering the state of the teams, the moves that they made, and then I don't know if you guys remember this too, but I feel like it was either last year or the year prior. They announced that they were going to have like a Sean Taylor memorial, I guess you can call it. And you would think, oh, it's going to be a statue.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was like a wire mannequin with like a jersey, helmet, like pants and stuff like that. And everyone was like, what is this? Right. And just
that was brutal.
Right.
And then you add that to Mahomes' brother doing the TikTok dance near that.
That was another thing.
Yeah, that whole thing was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Which is a shame for who was a very good football player.
Right. And but since they're like away from the Snyder era, like they're already seeing some results, which is encouraging to see. Sure.
Quick results.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll mention very quickly that the Jaguars get their first win over the Colts 37-34.
Almost didn't.
There's not too much. Yeah, I know. Not too much to go on to this game. I just wanted to mention that they were 0-4. They're now 1-4. So I'm not saying the season's turn around. I'm pretty sure they're going to go right back to losing. I guess you could talk about Trevor Lawrence. I don't really think it's his fault. I think the coach is also going to be on his way out.
Yeah, probably.
Did you hear someone in the media asked the coach about, are you worried about your position here? And he was just like, no, I don't think of that. I just think of the games or whatever. I'm just like, oh, you're thinking it. You got to be thinking it. There's no way.
Yeah. One thing from this game that I will mention, though, Flacco, 359 yards and 3 TDs.
Yep.
For a backup. Like, imagine if he was still on the Browns.
I know.
How could they be? And if they just would give it.
The Browns are probably kicking themselves right now.
Yeah, for that, and then for Baker, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But at this point, like he's got to start somewhere. Like he can sling the thing still. Like it's what's crazy too is like when I look back at Flacco, like he was a very successful quarterback early in his career, winning, going to AFC Championship games, winning the Super Bowl, obviously, and he had that one run, like playoff run to the Super Bowl. But he wasn't one that like what could be mentioned with like Manning, Brady, Breeze, putting up numbers, right? Mm-hmm. And now he is later in his career. Maybe that's just like it comes with experience. Like it's not like the Ravens didn't have weapons back then either. But it's really impressive how he's I don't want to say turned his career around, but he's kind of revitalized it, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say revitalize is a good word for it. I'm kind of it sounds crazy, but if things don't work out with Daniel Jones for the Giants, I kind of want the Giants to make a move for him.
Why not?
Because just why not? And an experienced guy that you can draft someone and then have him learn from. I would love some backup learn from Flacco. He's proven. I would say he's proven. I was going to say something wild. Well, not really wild, but I was going to say he's proven more than Eli Manning has in his career, and Eli has 2 Super Bowls.
Whoa.
That's a
bold statement for a Giants fan there.
I'm just saying the ability to win a Super Bowl with a team. Yeah, win a Super Bowl with a team. Kind of be out of the loop for a while as a backup and hopping teams, and then just like come back to the Browns, just lights it up, moves to a different team, isn't the starter, comes in, and now is lighting it up again. That's incredible.
Yeah. And if we're comparing him to Eli Manning, like I said with Flacco, like he was more of a game manager, so he didn't make a ton of mistakes where Eli Manning definitely did throw interceptions, stupid throws here and there,
Eli is definitely more, I think, talented than Flacco. I just think Flacco is way smarter.
Yeah.
He way more.
Yep.
He can read the defense better.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And he doesn't get all freaked out.
Are we going there? No, I'm kidding. Let's not even touch that.
Yeah, anyways.
Quick Quick update.
Josh Allen,
4-1
what?
Panthers. Sorry, 4-1 Panthers. Are we serious? It's only the first period.
Justin, I hate to say it, for Pasalo in net.
Yep.
I've been there so many times. I knew
Yeah.
it was going to happen.
You know, I was so ready to be on this call, like as the game is going on. I'm like, hey Nick, your goal is good. He's kind of good. Why'd you get rid of it? Yeah, no, you're right.
It's that meme with the hand across the neck, like
Jonah Helly's like, no.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Hey, you got swim over, buddy.
True. Yeah.
Well, anyways, in a comparison to the Bruins getting knocked out right now, Josh Allen was knocked out. Took a nasty fall on his head.
He definitely.
Oh, he was out of here.
Yeah.
He was so out of here. He banged his head on that ground twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. And they gave him some smelling salts and told him to go back in. That is so wild to me. What concussion protocol? Who?
Yeah.
The man just slammed his head twice.
They have those like concussion spotters or whatever. Did someone need to spot them? Like, where were they? Seriously, like I think I saw that they said like, oh, like he might have an ankle injury. Unless you don't know anatomy and you're calling his head an ankle, like that's not true. Like he whacked the crap out of his head.
To me, when you say something stupid like that, I just think they're covering it up. Like he definitely is concussed, and they're just trying to like not admit it.
Well, what are they? Well, like I are they thinking, okay, this is a tight game. This is two teams that are probably going to be in playoff positions, so we don't want it to be decided because this guy may.
It's only 5 games into the season.
I know this guy may or may not have a concussion, which he absolutely did have a concussion, and you can see after that he just wasn't throwing it well.
If they're thinking like that, the players ought to go on strike because obviously the safety isn't the concern. I don't care. I didn't care if that was the Super Bowl. Josh Allen should have been out of the game.
Yeah, he should have. He should have definitely. And you would think that he had a concussion prior to that because he was 9 of 30.
Yeah,
he could. I didn't. I heard that earlier.
He was. So I think they would have had a chance to win this game. The end of this game where the Bills decided to throw 3 times instead of running 3 times.
That was where
they should have ran the ball, made them take their timeouts, and then take their chances in overtime. Because if, like, as a coach, you're like, you shouldn't be in that mode to throw the ball 3 times in a row with the quarterback who's 9 for 27 at the time.
On top of it, they were backed up in their own end. Like he was throwing from the end zone. Like
so you have a concussed quarterback who's 9 of 27 on the day. You think the coach would have said, today's not the day. Let's run this thing 3 times, let them use their timeouts and get this to overtime. Mm-hmm. But no, the Bills to me have like a lot of coaching mishaps, even in the last few years. Just something with coaching goes. It's either Allen throwing a dumb interception or whatever, or coaching lapse every single time.
You could stem that up to the GM's office too, with how they traded their first round pick this year to the Chiefs, so the Chiefs could take Xavier Worthy, even though the Bills like lost all their wide receivers. Like it's kind of like the Bengals earlier. Like I said, lack of attention to detail, like with those things. Like with the NFL, like you don't really realize until like your team is like, for me, like the Patriots are like in the playoffs in these like high stakes games consistently. A lot of the times it comes down to like 1 or 2 plays. It really does. Like, and if you execute at a poor level with those, you're going to lose them every time. And that's what we've seen from the Bills in the playoffs. And like in this game too, where they, like you said, they had the 3 passing plays way backed up on their own end, and then they have to punt it away, and the Texans eventually kick the game-winning field goal. Another long field goal too, I'm pretty sure, by Kemi Fairbairn.
Yeah.
But that's I feel like after this year, like if they don't end up winning the Super Bowl, which I don't really know if I
feel
they will.
Yeah, I have that next just to talk about is like where the season goes for them. I had them picked in the Super Bowl. I am not feeling good about it now. just it's okay if you like drop off a little bit, but it seems like they kind of dropped a lot, kind of like a roller coaster at the beginning, just 90-degree, just straight down, kind of.
Yeah,
The
yeah. And
coaching. Go
they
ahead.
did that last year too. I think they started
Yeah,
out really
that's
slow too,
why.
and then they
That's
ended
kind of
up
why.
turning it on in the second half.
Yeah, so it's not too late to get it going again. However, I think we mentioned a week or two ago about Allen with like not that presence of that star receiver helping him a little bit. I think he does need something to kind of give him some help and kind of like an outlet. I'm not sure how their run game has been this year.
James Cook has
I,
been pretty good.
I'm pretty yeah. So
He's that guy because he's you know,
yeah.
someone who can throw
The
to the back
easy answer is always like, oh, get the quarterback another weapon, but it doesn't always work that way. And at some point, this is another coach we're gonna have to start looking at as, is your time here done?
That was going to be my point earlier. Is like how many more playoff failures do we have to have from Sean McDermott for us to be like, all right, let's make a change here, right? Because it's they're right there. Like I would say maybe not this year as much as opposed to previous years in terms of like their talent and everything, but they've been right there for several years now, and they just can't like get over that hump. Right.
Granted, that hump is the Kansas City Chiefs, but
fair, yeah,
so
exactly.
it's not like an easy hump, but
right, definitely. But with the way that the AFC East is right now, like this is their division to lose, and
I was gonna say like this, it was tossed up to them, especially after the Tua injury.
Right,
it was pretty much
that was their main
handed to them.
competition. Besides, like you know, the Jets were kind of not too confident in them yet. But now it's just I would like it's just between them and the Jets, and they're really not taking the hold of it, and you know, really playing at an effective level.
No. Anyways, we will move on to the 49ers. 49ers lose 24-23 to the Cardinals. This is another bad loss for the 49ers. I'm not sure where they're heading either. I'm not sure how much Christian McCaffrey helps.
No, and it's tough to say what their issue is too. Like I mean, Purdy had
I couldn't tell you. Even I've watched them quite a bit this year. I couldn't tell you what's wrong with them really.
No,
they seem to not make the plays they were making last year to win them games. They're not hitting them.
Yeah, and
this Cardinals one, that Brock Purdy interception that just got tossed in the air and just picked out of the air. I mean, that's just something you can't do.
Yeah, he did have 2 picks, but I said the other week when the Patriots played them, I feel like he has somewhat proven himself as like kind of a guy. Like he created with his legs and you know made some plays, but they're another team too. They're even like at a higher level than the Bills are in terms of their Super Bowl like aspirations and their ability to get there, and they just
the talent level and everything.
Yeah, and it's just like Kyle. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is on the hot seat
I don't think
at
that's
all.
Close.
But he's someone that you know he blows these fourth quarter leads. You know, it's and I know he wasn't the head coach, but he did.
Which is weird because if you have a good running game and a good offensive line, you shouldn't be blowing games like that.
Which they do. I know. You're right. So that's another thing. Like, what do you point to? Like, do you have to like get another player? Do you just have to like let this kind of figure itself out?
I think you let it ride out, and if you need to make a few coordinator changes first, you do that first. Maybe a few position coach changes here and there, just to spice things up a little bit and see if another combination works.
I think that they might have like after the Super Bowl.
Even if it's not working right now,
I don't know.
It's just not working.
No.
So even if they get McCaffrey back, what are they going to do? Turn around and hand him the ball off a ton? He's coming off a pretty bad injury, so I don't know if you want to do that either.
Yeah, and if anything, like he could be like a decoy too. Like, oh yeah, we got to account for him, and which takes less pressure off of Debo, Ayuk, Kittle.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
another
I
thing
don't think
too.
he's
Ayuk
necessarily
has
needs it.
been. I don't like calling any player like a distraction because you don't know. You're not in the locker room. You don't know. I saw the video of Brandon Ayuk coming out in like different shorts for practice or whatever, and Shanahan had a problem with it. Like, dude, just put on the shorts that they asked you to wear. Why? What is being this rebel and putting on different shorts going to do for you or the team? Nothing. You just look like a jerk. Like, put the shorts on and go out and practice. I don't really. To me, what I care about shorts, no, but I think it's the point of like football is the ultimate team sport, and you need to look like a team, especially in the NFL. They're so strict on like their sock rules, their cleat rules, all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Like, of course he's going to care what shorts you put on. If everyone else is in black shorts and you're in red shorts that are baggy and hanging, like you're gonna get spoken to and you're gonna get told to go change.
Yeah.
I just don't know why that's a stance or that's a stand you need to make. Who cares? No one cares that you're making a statement about, oh, I'm gonna do what I want and have different shorts on. Cool, sick. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just when I see stuff like that, it angers me because you're getting paid millions of dollars. If the coach wants to tell you to put like a certain pair of shorts on, just do it, dude. Like,
And he got paid
what's the
more.
big deal? Is it
He got his bag, right? And
yeah? So he got
and
paid, and he's still acting like a child.
and he's not playing like the level at which he's getting paid either. He missed
Yeah,
plenty of
no,
training camp time not practicing, so maybe he's still catching up with that. But we see it a decent amount of times where some of these wide receivers, they get paid, and then whether it's like they just don't have the drive anymore because like, okay, I got what I wanted, I got the money, like who cares now?
Mhm.
Maybe that's part of it, but he's causing more issues than helping them win these games.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to say he's the problem, but
No.
I'm not. Yeah, I won't say he's the problem, but that's not helping. Moving on, I don't really want to necessarily talk about the Rams. I kind of just want to talk on Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
Now, his contract goes to 2026. He'll be 38 years old by then, so he's 36 now. Where do you kind of see him? Do you see him retiring? Do you see him going to another team? Do you see him staying with the Rams? I got to tell you right now, I don't think he stays with the Rams.
I don't think I see him. Well, yeah, I don't think I see him staying there either. He's still keeping them in these games despite them having
Yes.
nothing because everyone's injured.
He is the sole reason they are in these games at all.
So he still can play. With him, like, pretty sure he had a back injury.
Yeah, I was going to say, keep in mind, he's had a lot of injuries in the past. He's hurt now. He's going to continue to get banged up because he's just on a bad team right now.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
That's kind of my point. It's like he might just be at a point where he's like, it's tough to get out of bed in the morning. Like I'm hurting.
Right.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like he definitely can still play, but I feel like he's considered retirement in recent years. If he still has that drive, great. Like he's still able to do it. But I see him retiring at some point. Like I don't see him playing for another team. Yeah, I think he's towards the end.
So I have him going to a different team just based on his mentality and attitude. Injuries have never swayed him from doing anything. Even that one game when he was in Detroit, he completely busted his shoulder, went out, they called a timeout, and he came out and threw the game-winning touchdown pass.
Yeah, they were jumping on him, and he's like holding his shoulder in its socket,
screaming in pain. They got him mic'd up. You could hear him screaming in pain, and like I don't know if he'll allow himself to retire early enough. So I think he takes a crack at one more team, kind of like a Rodgers situation. What's going to be the best chance for one Super Bowl and then out?
Yeah, I can see it. I still think, like, considering the severity of his injury, like I think his doctors were telling him, like, you probably shouldn't play anymore. Like you got some serious issues.
He's been beaten up, dude.
Yeah. So that's just like because I think he has young kids too. I think he might like think about like the family route where
Mhm.
he has.
I think if he makes a decision after this year, I think it'll be retirement. If he plays another year, though, I think he might come around to another team. But if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm just saying if he comes back to the Rams next year, I think his career will go a little bit longer than expected. But if he's getting beat up this bad now, he may just want to call it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like he's got
Yeah.
pretty sure he has young kids. Like he has been successful in the league. He's won a Super Bowl. So I don't think he has much more to prove either. Like we know where he kind of sits.
Also,
it's
not one of those. He's not one of those quarterbacks that gets heat for losing so much. Like everybody knows he was on the Lions on a really bad team, really bad situation, and everyone kind of credits him for that. Nobody kind of like I'll compare it to like the Eli Manning situation. Like everyone downs Eli Manning, but forgets for a lot of his career he played on a pretty bad team for 10 years about. So, or a little less than 10 years. But yeah, I don't think he gets the heat. I think he's well liked. I probably would like to see him retire rather than just keep taking a pounding.
Yeah, agreed on that one for sure.
Anyway, we'll move on. The Giants beat the Seahawks this weekend. I am not super surprised. I call the Seahawks bluff.
Yeah, you did. I'll give you credit.
They can't really run the ball. Geno Smith is pretty much definition of mid. And I'm not just saying that either because like he used to be on the Giants. Like, no, he is the definition of mid. And DK Metcalf, I don't know if you saw this or not. He's been having a fumbling issue, which he did fumble in this game too, at kind of a crucial point. So I saw all that and I was just like, I think the Giants are just due for one. They lead the league in sacks with 22 now. Yeah, I'm telling you, the Giants defense isn't the issue. If they can get a little bit of the secondary, like Banks, the young corner, if they can get him sorted out a little bit more, he played great this week. But if they can get him more consistent, defense is legit. It's the offense that's a concern.
Yeah, prior to the season and even like the start of the season, some of the podcasts and stuff I listened to were questioning why they traded for Brian Burns because it's like,
right.
What do you expect to do? Like, you're not really in a window to like win right now, right? But
no.
Maybe his presence on the defense is helping him step it up a bit.
Yeah, and he has been quiet most of the season. But even Thibodeau, he kind of like he goes silent for a while, and then he'll make a lot of noise in one game, and then
very streaky.
Yeah, very streaky kind of. But the one consistent is Dexter Lawrence, and there was a few times they didn't have him out on third downs, and I'm kind of like freaking out. Like, I don't know why we don't have our best pass rusher on the field on third downs, but I guess it's just a package thing or whatever. But I feel a little bit better about the Giants. I don't trust them because even in the past 2 years, they've had these kind of games where it's just like, wow, holy crap. Is that what we should look like? And then you just go right back to just playing like absolute crap. They had a good run game. I don't remember the kid's name, but he had over 100 yards rushing. He led the league in rushing this week. So that went well for them. Jones looked beyond comfortable, which is I'm not used to seeing. He was changing plays and all that. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not expecting much, but it was a good win. Although I will say, I think it was more the Seahawks bluffing about how good they are. Just saying.
Just be happy your team can score 20 points. Because mine
can. Are you talking about Neighbors with the rushing? Is that who?
No, Malik Neighbors didn't even play. Yeah, Tracy. Tracy was his name. Yeah, Malik Neighbors was out in concussion protocol, and their starting running back, Devin Singletary, was also out due to an injury. So they didn't even have their two top guys in the off. Yeah, well, I wouldn't call Singletary top.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And Darius Slayton still kicking it. He's
and
pretty good.
he started that game miserable. He started that game so bad with just drops and stuff like that, and then he just started lighting it up. Also, did you see the new rule? You know how they signal for a first down?
Someone got called for it. Like
Slayton got called for it because they're going to cut that out because I guess it looks like a gun when you're doing it.
That was done in so many different games, though.
I know, and it's missed throughout some games, but there's been called literal a lot this
gun,
year.
like mimicking gun use, like as celebrations, rampant in college.
They're trying to,
but and this you just point.
He literally just went like this, just like that, just pointing first down, and they called it. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you got guys like loading up a clip and acting like they got recoil. Like,
or how about their actual players beating the crap out of people and getting arrested?
That's another thing too.
They care way less about that than just a stupid first down signal.
I know.
Moving on. Did you see that rain delay in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Rain was crazy.
Yeah, I did not stay up for that game. That was way too late for me.
I fell asleep and I woke up for a second. I was like, Erica, did this game effing start yet? And she's like, nah. And I was like, what time is it? She was like, it's almost 10. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. I'm not staying up for the freaking Cowboys.
Dude, that's a first. That might be the first game I've seen that neither of you have seen. Because I watched that. That's crazy. It was really boring, to be honest.
You're a creature of the night, Nick.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say on the game other than I think it's two very mid teams playing, and by the way it sounded like the game was also mid.
It was so mid. It was the most defensive thing I'd ever seen. It was really boring.
Don't say that to Walter, because Walter loves some defense. That's not boring to him.
Well, if you can separate good defense and just bad offense, I think that's the difference. I think this, just looking at the game and knowing who it is, I got a feeling it's two bad offenses.
At least from the Steelers side, we can confirm that.
Yeah, for sure. Watching Justin Fields play football is kind of painful.
Listen.
Oh, wait.
Listen, hold up. Bring that back. Yes, currently, but when he was at the Ohio State University, baller. He is my favorite Buckeye player that I've ever watched. I love that guy. He was a freaking beast. Now he can't do anything. I don't know what happened to him. But
all right,
so here's what we got to do with current state. But like back then, nah.
Here's what we got to do for Justin Fields. We need to, before he goes anywhere, we need to send him to Carolina, and then he needs to go somewhere else because then he'll end up like Baker.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
That's the recipe for success, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. I didn't watch this game either. Saints and the Chiefs. I woke up this morning and I immediately was like, let's see if the Chiefs did it. Yeah, they did it again.
Yeah, they did.
5-0 start despite all the injuries. Honestly, at this point, I could say they're going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it.
That good too. Like Kareem.
I'm not even mad. I'm like frustrated that nothing is going to beat them. Nothing. If they're going to lose, it's going to be because they did something.
And to kind of bring this back around to those like attention to detail teams, this is the team that constantly, is buttoned up all the way, and they are able to execute on those like one or two plays a game.
Yeah.
That's
and this hurts more. This hurts more for like what we were discussing with the Bills, because it's like the Bills have around that same aura, you could say, of like playoff Super Bowl contention, but the Chiefs get it done no matter what, and the Bills do not.
Yeah, and like last year, you look at the Chiefs and you're like, okay, if we're ever going to catch this team, this is the year, because they just weren't the same on offense. They had lost some weapons, and you might be able to argue that now with their offense losing Rashee Rice.
And
Pacheco.
what's more insanity is Mahomes is not playing like out of his mind either.
No, he didn't throw a touchdown this game. He threw one interception. He's had like a decent amount of receptions this year.
Yeah.
That's not like him.
I think he has like 6, if not more.
Yeah, and yet I'm pretty sure, is still the favorite to win MVP.
Which is just wild.
Popularity contest, that part of it. But
Yeah,
still, he's not playing. Just if once he starts playing good, they're gonna keep winning.
That's what I mean. I don't see. The only way I see them losing is if they do it to themselves. I'm so serious too. I know it's hard to win in the NFL, and it's almost impossible to have an undefeated season. I'm telling you right now, I don't see them losing a game unless they screw it up. Which, let's face facts, if they didn't screw it up with no players, they're probably not.
Unfortunately, for the rest of us.
Yeah. Which is fine. I guess I love a good story. Man.
A good love story.
We should end there, but we got to make our picks for this week. All right. Wait a minute. Let me get something out here so we can.
Are you writing it down like who picks?
Yeah, you guys wanted to keep track, so
okay,
we'll keep track.
I also keep track for myself. I have like a years long game going against myself picking. So I did my homework, and I'm not going to ask who's home because I already decided who I'm picking because I did that a lot last week apparently.
All right, 49ers and Seahawks. This is kind of a weird one, huh?
It's like I don't want to say a must win for both teams, but it's an important one because they're both, I think, what are they, 2-3 each?
Yeah.
And yeah, if the Niners want to make something,
well, no, actually, Seahawks are 3-2.
Oh, okay. So if the Niners win, then they're even. Okay. Yeah. I am gonna go Niners. I think they just have too much talent to keep losing these ways. And no,
agreed. I got 49ers.
The Seahawks lost to the Giants. Like, come on, on a bad blocked field goal at the end too, right?
Mind you, I'll add though that wasn't. There's 2 Giants teams that show up. There's the really awful one, and then there's the they're all right. I mean, it's all right. It's all overrated. But I think they got that it's all right team. So I'm not going to give them too much slack for that, but I am going to call their bluff again. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going 49ers as well. I don't like what I see in the Seahawks anymore.
Jags and Bears.
I believe this one is in London. So it's a home game for the Jags, basically, because the Jags have back-to-back games there.
That is awful. Who allowed that? Oh, wait, I think they said that last year. They were going to say the home team stays in London. So I don't think they came back to the States. I think they stayed in London.
Well, yeah, they have their next. They have the Bears this week, and they have the Pats next week.
Yeah,
and they're both in London, so they stay there.
Yeah,
because like the Jags, I think, are one team that always has a London game. Because I don't know if they get many fans in their stadium. Anyway, I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Okay, Nick.
I'm not going to go with the Bears. I'm actually going to pick the Jaguars. My thinking is maybe they have some motivation now after finally doing something barely. But maybe
barely get it.
Barely.
But
it's unintentional every time. But maybe they can pull out another win. And I don't think they're going to turn their season around. But if they can put 2 together, they'll probably feel better about themselves and maybe live up to more of their potential.
I agree. I'm picking Jags. I'm purely going based on quarterbacks here. Trevor Lawrence he's got 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he really hasn't played bad. I'm going to pick that over Caleb Williams. So I'm going to go Jags. Next is Cardinals at Packers.
I like the Packers in this one. for whatever reason, the Cardinals have a knack of just coming back and winning or almost winning. So I expected to be close, but still, the Packers do have some issues. I think Christian Watson is out, and then one of the other two wide receivers was thrown a fit because he wasn't happy with his role in the offense. But I still got the Packers.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm also going to go Packers.
Same. I'm going Packers as well. Colts at Titans.
Joe Flacco. End of sentence.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. I'll take the Flack attack.
Texans at Patriots.
I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to go with the Mace. I'm just kidding. I'm going Texans.
Had me in the first half, not going to
lie. So I'm just going to assume we're all going Texans there. Yeah. All right, moving on. Bucks at Saints.
I got the Bucks. I think we've seen Derek Carr get back to Derek Carr fully, and Baker's been playing really good. I got the Bucks.
Yep. About that, the game last week, Carr got injured at the very end.
He did.
And so they didn't. I haven't seen any update on the injury, but if he's out, I'm definitely taking the Bucks.
Okay.
I think their backup is Spencer Rattler too.
Oh boy. Actually, he looked pretty good in preseason though.
He did, yeah.
So all right, another fun one. Browns at Eagles.
How many more weeks of Deshaun Watson do we need to watch?
Apparently a lot more.
Just they gotta just give up on the guy because first off, nobody likes him. I'm sure his teammates don't really care for him either. And
no, I would imagine not.
You can trash Jameis Winston all you want, but at least he's a likable guy. The Panthers scored again. Sorry, that's 5-1 now. Yo, your guy sucks, Nick. Holy crap! You were kidding. Anyway, back to football.
That's why he's yours now, not his.
Great, thanks. Yeah, they gotta put Winston in because Watson just doesn't have it. So I'll go Eagles.
Okay, Nick.
I'm going to go Browns to be a little different. My reason is I feel like what Walt said earlier about the Giants, sometimes they look great one week, another week they look bad. I think the Eagles kind of fall in that category too. The Browns are browning pretty hard right now, but if there's any game the Eagles would lose, it'd probably be against the Browns for no reason. So,
yeah. Not to mention the Browns already dropped 2 NFC East games to Washington and the Giants. So,
didn't they play the Cowboys too?
I'm not sure. I think they
played week 1.
Yeah, week 1 and lost. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Eagles to get the NFC East sweep on the Browns. If Deshaun Watson wasn't a thing, I might pick the Browns there. But Deshaun Watson exists, so I'm not picking
for them. He is.
Probably a really good game. Commanders at Ravens.
Ooh. Very good. Yes, I am going to go with the Ravens. Yep. I think by the week I'm a little bit more vindicated in my Super Bowl pick because I think I just have them going to the Super Bowl, losing to the Lions.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're playing the best right now of any team in the league. They're very good, and this will be the first real test for the Commanders.
Yep.
I still think that I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders won, but I definitely lean more the Ravens.
Yeah, I am also going to go Ravens here in a very close one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. It's the Battle of the Beltway. It's a treat for DMV folks here. We don't get to see that much.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Derrick Henry makes a difference.
Is there an actual belt on the line if it's the Battle of the Beltway, Nick?
Nah, no one wants this highway that goes around. No one wants that.
No one. Okay. So whoever loses, they have to go. They have to just go around and around on the highway. Is that
yeah, on peak rush hour traffic, just get Stewart and get stuck in traffic for no reason.
That's the punishment.
Anyways, next game: Chargers at Broncos. A great one here.
I don't know if the Chargers will have enough players to play because everyone's getting hurt. I don't like the Broncos. I don't think they're very good. I mean, the defense is decent, but Bo Nix is fine. But I guess I'll go Broncos.
The Chargers are damn near on replacement players.
Yeah. And the replacement players
I'm
can replace
going
too,
Broncos. I'm going Broncos at home.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos.
Are you going the same, Justin?
Yeah, Broncos.
Next is Steelers at the Raiders.
I'm going to go Steelers, but I don't know if you guys saw this clip of Max Crosby over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, I don't know if you saw this, but Bo Nix was like at the line, doing on or whatever, and then Max Crosby literally walks over like closer to the center, and he's like, "You gotta tell them, Bo, they don't know," or like something like that. Like they
don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
Just screams it across the line. That was so funny.
He's a boss. I love that guy.
And also the balls to get out of his stance, stand up,
yeah,
and just start screaming across
and go like towards this, like he moved out of position too.
Yeah, just wild behavior.
I'm still going Pittsburgh, although I do love that guy.
I'm going to go Steelers as well. I think they're a little bit more put together.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I'm going to pick Raiders just to be different, only because I did suffer through the Cowboys and Steelers game, and my reference for the Steelers is not enjoyable. So,
all right, so that's just Walton. I'm missing out on that game. Okay, respect. I respect it.
Respect it. All right, Lions at Cowboys.
I will go Detroit on this one. I'm not sold on the Cowboys.
I'm going the same. I would not trust the Cowboys for anything.
Yeah, Lions for sure.
So, further confirmation that game that you watched was mid because you picked against both teams.
Super mid
next week.
Here's one that I think is probably going to be a blowout. Falcons at Panthers.
Yeah. Enough.
I wouldn't be surprised of a Kirk Cousins letdown after their emotional win.
All right. We're not going to go there.
Okay.
You know what? He's going to throw for another 5. He's going to throw for another 5.
Stop.
You heard it here first. I'm going to put it right here. Kirk throws another 5.
Are we going to have to do like one bold prediction a week? Are we going to add this to the show too?
We might.
Oh, geez.
We might. I'm telling you right now. I'm dead serious. He's going to throw for another 5. All right. This one can get interesting. Bengals at Giants.
I said this last week. I don't think I saw the Bengals going 1-4. Here we are.
Yeah.
I don't see him going
very
1-5. Sticking with them.
Nick.
That is a tough one. I agree with Justin though. I don't see them. Is Joe Burrow, with the way he's playing, really going to go 1-5?
Yeah, he threw 5 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, surely not. So I'll pick the Bengals.
Analyzing this game, it's a little bit tough because you don't really know what Giants team you're going to get. But in the same breath, the Bengals defense is this bad. And if you're still losing games and your quarterback throws for 300 to 400 yards, how many touchdowns your receiver has well over 100 yards receiving, and you still lose, I don't know. I'm gonna pick the Bengals, but I don't feel great at all about that. I don't feel great. Mm-hmm. And then we wrap up the week with the Bills at the Jets.
All right. I don't know if this will be a hot take or not, but I have reasoning. I'm going to go with the Jets.
Okay.
So, I don't know how long this has kind of been a trend for, but when a team fires a coach midseason, particularly a coach that is not very liked, which does not seem that Saleh was very liked as, I don't know if you guys saw Mekhi Becton, the offensive lineman. I think he's still with the Jets. He posted on his Instagram story, I think, a picture of like someone like at a funeral, like making fun of Salah because like it was, So when that happens, there's more times than not the team bounces back the next week and wins, even if it's an unexpected win. So considering where the Bills are at right now with Josh Allen probably being concussed.
I was going to say, I don't even know if he's going to be awake. So I'm going Jets.
Smelling salts are going to help, right?
Yeah, totally.
But even though the Jets aren't playing that great, I'm still going to go Jets.
Yep, I agree. I think it's got to be the Jets. It feels like firing the coach might be a shot in the arm. I don't think they're going to turn the season around, but I think they take this one.
This is also a revenge game for Rodgers because he tore his Achilles at home against the Bills. So I don't know. I guess it's a revenge game against the turf. I don't know.
Jeez. All right. Well, to wrap up here, how do we all feel about our teams going into this week? We kind of elaborated a little bit from a analyzing standpoint and a realistic standpoint, but from a fan standpoint, what do you think? What are we thinking? Justin, you could start.
I have plans for 1:00 on Sunday, and it's not to watch the game. So that can tell you all you need to know. I'll still watch. I'm not feeling great about him, but admittedly, I made the plans prior to Drake May being announced.
It's not the plans. It's just how fast and how willing you are to just trash and give up.
Walter, I like. There was so many memes going around during the game of those commercials where it's like, have you or a loved one suffered from mesothelioma or whatever those commercials are, right? Mm. And it was, have you or a loved one watched the Dolphins Patriots game? You might be entitled to compensation, right? Like, it was so painful to watch, and I'm happy that they're trying something different with May. I hope, even if they don't win, I just want to see something. I just want to see a competent offense, right? I want to see some first downs. Like, I want them to. Can they get to 20 points? That's what I want to see. I don't think that's asking for a lot. It doesn't even have to be 21. It does not have to be 3 touchdowns. Just a 20. That's it.
All right. I think that's fair. So, I think for me with the Giants, I want Daniel Jones to put together 2 good games in a row. They don't have to necessarily win. I just want to see 2 good games in a row. Nick, do you have anything for us?
Well, I mean, my mom's a Giants fan, so I definitely enjoy watching the Giants. And so if I'm going to talk about football, I'm going to say I want to see the Giants defense. You mentioned how sturdy it is. I want to see them do well against Joe Burrow.
That's actually a good one, too. That's going to be a good measuring stick.
Yeah, that's going to show, like, really because Burrow's playing great. I mean, so it's going to be a good face-off there. Speaking of face-off, with the hockey season starting, my Ottawa Senators play the Florida Panthers on Thursday, and the Panthers are currently, Justin's been talking about it.
5-2 right now. So, all right.
Maybe we're starting to cook.
We're coming back. I'm totally kidding. They're not coming back. Good luck in that one. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, no, I don't feel great about that game. I feel good about the season, but we're about to get our lunch money taken from us this Thursday. So, I don't know if I'll be watching that. I'm giving up before
you got plans too.
We'll see.
All right. Well, with that, Nick, take us out of here.
All right. Thank you for watching the A3A Podcast. I should say listening. Thank you for listening.
Or watching.
It's a pleasure to have you. Oh, yeah. You could watch our beautiful faces on YouTube if that's what you prefer. We have all sorts of media outlets for you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.